Hari Om. Good evening. A very warm good evening to all of you. Please come. Let's have special prayers today. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya sahanavavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord the Almighty, the Omniscient, the Omnipresent, the Omnipotent, who also has the divine names Naikarupaha, Brihadrupaha. To such a Lord, together with utmost faith, devotion and surrender, we offer our humble salutations, Sastanga Pranams, to seek your grace, your mercy, your love, your compassion, your kindness, your forgiveness, your strength. O Lord, bless us with the divine qualities of Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya, only and only to understand Thy true nature. Have the first-hand experience, aparoksha anubhuti of Thy true self in us. We beseech that at the end of our lives, we reach Thy holy feet. Om Tat Sat. Today, With the grace of the Almighty and the blessings of the Guru Parampara, we are on a milestone Divine Discourse number 300 on this 20th day of September 2022. Shubhakrit Nama Samvatsar, Dakshinayan Varsha Rutu Bhadrapada Masa Krishna Paksha, Dashami Punarvasu Nakshatra, Variyan Yoge Bhadrakarane. On this auspicious day and auspicious time of the evening, Na Ham Karta Hari Karta, Hari Preranaya Hari Prityartham. We all make a renewed, firm resolve in our minds that whatever is happening in our lives is only and only to uplift my soul. Every person, every object, every incident, every circumstance, every situation, every happening is only and only at the behest of the Almighty as a grace towards us. We all need to recognize that all that is happening is to free the soul from the ocean of birth and death, that is samsara. We accept everything as His blessings, as His kindness, as His mercy, with the prasad buddhi bhava. Our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara. Om. Tat Sat. Good evening to all of you. A very, very warm welcome. It gives me sheer joy. You know, when you look upon to somebody in life, whoever it may be your parents, your spouse, your family, your guru. When you look up to them and when you see that their grace is showering on you, they are happy with you, with your performance, with your undertaking, with all that you're putting in life. You know, it gives us a massive contentment because you know that there is a support in your life, whoever you look upon as your ideal in life. So I can say that today is one of those moments where I personally can feel that the Lord's grace is tremendously showering on us. Otherwise this wouldn't have happened. See, personally I tell you, there are so many issues which are coming up after the normalization, post the COVID, we can now fairly say that. And it has been so hectic, so much of pressure, but still God makes that way for me to take all things forward. He gives me the energy, He gives me the right frame of mind, and I only pray that with all your support and your enthusiasm, we continue to take this yajna forward. Okay. Now, today we have about 11 recordings. Some are voice recordings and some are handwritten. Wherever it is handwritten, I will be reading them. And thereafter we will take a recap. Now we will take a macro view of what we have tried to understand in life, and then how we need to move forward. We will take it that way. I am happy to say that each one of you have really mentioned what really struck you in on the path of the spiritual journey and how it made a difference. And I am sure that as you listen to these words of the seekers, then probably you will also say, I must catch hold of this. So we are going to go get a few insights which are really intriguing and worthwhile practicing, and I think we should do this exercise more often, so that uh, without giving such a large gap of time, if we are able to bring all our understandings forthwith now and then. So what happens is, if we have missed out on anything, we can immediately get the hang of it. Okay, now we start. I have just I am going to start this by in the order which has come to me. So there is nothing that the first one is the best and the last one is much lower, nothing like that. So let us move on and listen to the sayings of the seekers. It is extremely important, and it is your day. You have to say and I have to listen, and we all have to learn. Thank you. Okay. Now we start with the verse. First one is from Srimati Durga Suri. It's a recording. I'll play the recording for you all.
My pranams to Guru Parampara and pranams to Guruji Srinivasji. Hari Om to all of you. Before talking about the changes I found in me through Gita discourses, I wanted to tell you all about how I used to take the life situation and the behavioral patterns of people within the family and also outside the family. It was very upsetting to see the same people behave in different way as if we are nobody to them. Although I believed in karma theory, that whatever you sow, you will reap, still I could not come to terms with the life. I used to feel agitated. Why things are happening to me this way? When you believe in God, He will only show you the right path. Thanks to Padmaja, she insisted that I should join the Gita classes, which I found very beneficial eventually. God showed me a great teacher like Srinivas Guruji, whose unique way of explaining the Lord's teachings in a simple manner, in a simple language, changed my outlook completely. I started slowly surrendering all my problems, actions and reactions to the Lord, and became free from my mental unrest. Moreover, when I have learnt about the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, how they influence each and every person in a different manner, I started connecting myself to their situations and moods, and I am able to understand them well, and I am able to forgive them and forget the situations too. Now I don't bother much about what others feel about me, because I don't attach myself to their moods or talks. I focus now on improving my vision more and more towards the world and the Lord, and surrender to Him completely. That is my goal now, come what may. I hope to improve myself more and more with the help of Guruji's teachings. Sorry to take a lot of time, and thank you all to bear with me. Pranams to Guruji. Hari Om.
Okay, very well said, Mrs. Srimati Durga Garu. Now I'll move on to the next one, which is a message. So I'll have to read it. This is from Srimati Vinita Gangoli. Hari Om Guruji. My experience during these almost 3 years listening to the discourses of our Guru, Sri Srinivas Sirigeri, is truly great. I feel there is a change in my attitude towards other people, be it my near and dear ones or my friends, has changed for the better. I also started imbibing Gita in my daily life by treating everybody as a part of Paramatma. There being Paramatma Tattva in every soul, there has come a big change in me. I also do Arpan to the Lord after every task that I do. This too has helped me. I also feel peaceful, I sleep better, and I also am less agitated over small things. So thank you so much, Guruji, for leading us towards this spiritual path. We are truly blessed to have you in our lives. Thank you, Srimati Vinita. Now, okay, the next one is also handwritten from Mrs. Lakshmi Belde. Hari Om Guruji, Sahasra Pranams. I feel lucky to get you as my Guru. You are taking so much efforts to teach us. Very grateful, Guruji. And there is so much change in me in these years, mainly less reaction to every situation in my life. Can't say no reaction at all, but the reaction is much less. As I say every time, situations didn't change didn't change me, and the words most affected me are Naham Karta, Hari Karta, Hari Preranaya, Hari Prityartam. Sarvashri Parameshwara Arpanamastu. After listening this, I used to say these words after doing any work or anything and in my prayers every time. I am feeling peaceful. Thank you very much, Guruji. Awaiting to learn more, and please help us to do sadhana with your preachings. See, now if you all have seen, the prasada buddhi factor is repeating. So this is extremely good. Prasada buddhi and arpana bhava. This is like you are covering both the loose ends in our life. If we have this prasada buddhi and arpana bhava, it's great. So I am really happy that we are taking things in the right perspective. Now we move on to the next one, which is again handwritten, as I said, which is from Srimati Gyani Pandey. So she has titled it as Kritagnata. Having arrived at the 300th Divine Discourse, my heart is filled with gratitude towards the Almighty for His grace, for giving us such a selfless Guru, a Guru who is guiding us to move ahead on the path of spirituality by hand holding us. The knowledge has been always there from eternity, but by the grace of God, Guruji is bringing it to us. Listening to these discourses, contemplating on the knowledge, trying to imbibe and bring it into my acharan, I have noticed a few changes in myself. My biggest enemy was my anger. I have been trying to help the qualities of a sthita prajna. With these discourses, I have understood that the root cause of anger is a big fat ego. With the satsang of Guruji, Padmaja and discourses, I am working on it thoroughly. My mind has been able to stay without these shadripu, calm and at peace most of the time. The meditation has helped me a lot. Yes, I do slip here and there, but immediately the self that is observing quickly steps in and asks, why? What for? Who is it that is angry, sad, or upset? Immediately the mind settles down. This is all because of the discourses. The immense knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, so lucidly explained by Guruji with metaphors, anecdotes, and references from other scriptures, which requires a lot of reading, research, and complete dedication. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuhu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Our eyes were blinded with the darkness of ignorance. We bow to the Guru who opened our eyes with the kajal of knowledge. Thank you, Guruji. Sat Naman. Yeah. Now we move on to the next one. Yeah, meantime, Padmaja, please come in. So, the next one is Srimati Leela.
Pranam Guruji, I am Leela. I have been listening to your pravachan for the past 2 years. It has brought in me a great amount of transformation. I am feeling inner joy. I used to worry for small things. Now I feel I unnecessarily worried for things which are so anitya. I used to hold on to things and never let it go. Now I am easily able to let go of things, whether be it memories, experience, etc. The concept of we are neither the body nor the mind is getting clear to me. I am able to understand that happiness is within us, peace and calm is within us. For physical fitness, I have been practicing yoga for a long time. For my mental fitness, your Gita discourse has really helped me a lot. To conclude, if at 80 years I feel this beautiful transformation, I feel youngsters will benefit so much from this. My wishes to all of you who are listening, and please walk this path sincerely.
Thank you, Srimati Leela ji. Trying to know that you are not the body or the mind. That is one of the root causes of spirituality. To become free from the person you think you are. So that's what you are moving exactly in the right direction. And how this satsang has an impact. Today in our discourse I'll try to enumerate with a small story. So this has to be intact. Otherwise we will all be back in our own shells and we can rather call them as our own holes. Again disturbed, turmoiled and worried. Okay, so now we'll listen to the next recording from Srimati Shamala Vishak, who happens to be the daughter-in-law of Srimati Leela.
Hari Om Guruji. To begin with, heartiest congratulations to you and to all us sadhaks for reaching the 300th session today. So, you had requested us to send in our experiences in this path or journey. So, I'm just going to briefly share with you certain things which I have practiced and how it has helped. So, you had in one of your discourses said that whenever you feel that your mind wanders to unnecessary things, you bring it back to the Lord. So, I did try to practice that. Whenever the mind started wandering to any negative things, it could be some past regrets, it could be future worries, it could be about someone else, oh, how did this person say this to me, etc. I quickly reminded myself, I asked my mind that, are you a housefly, are you a makhi, or are you a honeybee, which is a madhumakhi? Because the houseflies, they just go and sit on anything, any nonsensical things, whereas the honeybee, it is very careful and it sits only on flowers. So the moment I asked this question to the mind, and the thought of flowers and the fact that our mind should be like the honeybee, sitting on flowers only. So the moment I thought about the flowers, I then converted all of these thoughts into beautiful flowers and offered it at the lotus feet of the Lord. These are mental exercises that I did, and then immediately started chanting his name. So this way what happened was, as I started practicing this, the Nama Japa automatically increased, and slowly this practice helped me move into Sakshi Bhava. That is, it became easier for me to observe my thoughts and emotions in an unbiased manner. And the more I observed it, the more I realized that all these thoughts, as my mother-in-law Leela ji just pointed out, that all our thoughts, experiences, feelings, they are all just so anitya, and what are we? We are all just actors playing our roles in our everyday lives. That's about it. And the script and the entire script has actually written by someone else. So another practice that really helped me was the shloka that you have taught all of us. Naham karta hari prernaya hari prityartham idam namama sarvam krishnarpanam astu. So this shloka, by constant practice of this shloka, I think the doership bhavna also comes down. The attachment towards the work that we are doing as well as the results of the work, it slowly starts coming down. I understand that I have a long way to go, and really there are a lot more things that I need to practice from your discourses. But even what I have shared just now, just the practice of this has really helped me be calm, be stress free, and maybe have a larger perspectives to things. Narayan Narayan, Hari Om, and heartfelt thanks to you, Guruji.
Well said, Shamla. So you two are working on the key areas, which is Sakshi Bhava, and also on offering everything to the Lord. So this is really reconciling that we are catching hold of the right things, what we need to learn. So it's now that everybody can get an understanding that wherever you all have missed on something, please catch hold of that. But I'm pretty sure that all of you are on the same page. Now, the next one comes from Shri A. Sridhar from Bengaluru.
गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम। On this occasion of 300 Divine Discourse, I would like to thank Srinivas Guruji for taking us along with him in the spiritual journey. Not only teaching us, but ensuring we understand what is being taught, evaluating time to time, and giving practical solutions to the problems we face in sadhana. We are very grateful to you, Guruji. Our Ananta Koti pranams to you. I would like to mention teachings from Divine Discourse which has impacted me personally in this spiritual journey and has brought a major change. Hope this might help fellow sadhakas as well. The first and foremost thing which greatly impacted in calming of the mind is kill desires, which is mentioned in Divine Discourse number 43, where Guruji mentioned that no stage by stage cutting down of desires, like we use Sama, Dhana, Beda, and Danda in most cases to tackle the problems. But with regard to desires, it is directly Danda. You might think desire as a great aspiration which we want to achieve in life. No. In my experience, even the smallest of smallest desires also create restlessness in the mind. So, killing desire has greatly helped me to calm the mind to a greater extent. Next, the objectification of mind. I always had a feeling that we are the sentient being with body and mind until I heard from Guruji mention that the mind is another object in the body. I was under different impression and was never able to think beyond mind. Not stopping here, Guruji explains in detail, dissecting the mind gives the layers of the mind, manaha, buddhi, chitta and ahankara, and the detailed explanation of how each one operate. Here the important thing which helped me in sadhana is understanding that malina or impurity is part of mind which is from the past life, and chaitanya khandane, a function or a function of the mind which denies the presence of God. And another important part is the ego or the ahankara, where Guruji mentions Mr. Ego as one another function of the mind. You might think what changes it has brought, right? Well, a great deal of real life changes in me. The suffering or pain doesn't seem to affect me to the extent they used to earlier, able to see the mind calm in both happiness and sufferings. You might ask, is that all? No, not really. This greatly helped me in next step of sadhana, the Sakshi Bhava or witness consciousness. Being in the Sakshi Bhava has enabled me to understand the teachings with much clarity and able to implement to a greater extent in real life. The changes in me are the tolerance level has increased greatly. Recently I had to go through a back treatment which was a very painful process. Being in the Sakshi Bhava, I could instantly feel less pain in this gross body. In the subtle body, the mind, distancing from the mind, have empowered me to handle difficult situations much better than before. More importantly, this has enabled me to get a glimpse of the pure consciousness, which is totally unaffected by the pain, suffering, turmoil, anxiety, stress, anger, fear. And not only that, it is not affected by momentary happiness, joy as well. Next, in chapter 14, Guruji mentions Sattva is also a bondage. This was very shocking and a mind opener too, where he mentions that only gunas, the Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, is doing everything. Understanding this has helped me greatly to remove major cause of restlessness of the mind, which is the hatred. Realize that if only gunas are doing everything, whom to hate? Because the amount of energy used to think about a person we hate in mind is enormous. So this helped me to forgive and forget people who had troubled us in the past. I'd like to mention about my doubt, which I asked Guruji from Tattvabodha class. I was having difficulty in understanding that Sat as pure consciousness. I asked Guruji how to understand that Jada in or the inert item like stone, etc. are also sentient being. The ultimate and the spontaneous answer which I got from Guruji is that it is pure consciousness. Just the absence of mind in it has made it insentient, and he said, God alone is there. Not stopping there, Guruji quoted an example of wave and water, where wave is just the name and form. In essence, there is water and water alone. Wave is just an appearance. Similarly, he mentioned our nature is Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss, pure consciousness. This totally changed my view towards the world. Many things comes to my mind, but one thing which I can't resist to mention in this is the practical implementation techniques to perform in day-to-day life which Guruji mentions is something commendable. In this regard, to keep us in track, Guruji told us to have a dashboard to keep track of Harishadvargas, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara, and also to annually review the japa count and the spiritual activities we do. Also to cross the barrier of prarabdha and to do what is necessary to do, Guruji suggested the 5-second window to carry out Purushartha has also helped greatly in sadhana. Last but not the least, surrendering everything to the Lord on daily basis, karma sandwich. Naham karta, hari preranaya, hari prityartham, idam namama, om tat sat. This has become integral part of our life, and I feel that this complete surrenderance, Sharanagati to Lord, has helped to clean the impurities accumulated from many lives. Also feel that this has made impossible possible. Thank you and Hari Om.
Well said, Sridhar. I think you have given a gist of many important things in terms of our learning. Now I should also mention to our sadhak parivar about Mr. A. Sridhar, Shri A. Sridhar. Now this is one very unique case. How if the knowledge has to reach a person, then it will make its way through some source or the other, in some manner or the other. Now, Sridhar was a great aspirant of spiritual knowledge right from his younger days. He was an ardent devotee and disciple of Pujya Sri Harshanandaji of the Ramakrishna Math, Bengaluru. So where he learnt under him and he was thoroughly studying under him. And he also took Diksha from Pujya Sri Narayanachar, who is a great English scholar and a spiritual yogi, who has written several books on Bhagavad Gita and various other scriptures. Sridhar has been with Sri Narayanachar on personal tours, pilgrimage tours to Dwaraka and to Badrinath, Manas Sarovar, like which are more than a month, 30 days, 45 days, they have been together, and he has been very keenly following this knowledge. Now, how he got in touch with our group was, he was searching for some concept in his studies. Now, what had happened was, unfortunately, both Sri Harshanandaji and Sri Narayanachar, they attained salvation just 2 years ago, the following year more or less. So it was like a big loss for him, a big void for him. So when there was a deep question in his mind, he was searching on the net and somehow hit upon one of our lectures in Kannada. And he mentioned to me, because I was surprised to see his name on the screen, where it was appearing in Kannada and followed by that immediately on every English in every English class. So then once I got a chance, then when we spoke to each other, he said that when I went and I was researching for a concept, I got it. He said then I was totally convinced, and immediately one after the other he said I listened to discourses from 1 to 100. So that's how we know him. He has already been a seeker from several years, I would say more than 2 decades now, and by his talk also you could understand what he meant, what he has understood, and what he wants to pursue on the spiritual path. Thank you. So now we move to the next one. Now this comes from Srimati Jaya Mohan Das. I'll read it out. Namaskaram Guruji and Akka. Akka means here it is Padmaja. Wow, 300th day. How blessed we are to reach this milestone. Guruji, as you have said, when our time is right, we will get associated with scriptures and the right Guru in our life. We all are so lucky to have you in our life as our Guru. You make everything sound so easy and simple for us to understand. For me, the wake-up call was Bhajagovindam, and I don't know how many times I have listened to the recordings. Also, Mantra Japa has become a part of our life now. Thank you so much for everything. Looking forward to learn more and more from you in the coming years. Hari Om. Thank you, Jaya. I know that you have been pursuing spiritual study right from the beginning, and this is making a difference in your life. Okay, now we listen to Srimati Meeta Vora, who has sent her recording.
Life was all about happiness and sorrow, various ups and downs, like a seesaw. The fruit of spirituality ripened, which was always raw. Sadness, anxiety, anger, and attachment are on the way of departure. Sat Chit Anand landing at arrival. Beloved Guruji, Sat Sat Pranam. Life is now all about Soham Tattvamasi Krishnarpanam. Hari Om.
Now, Meeta happens to be, you must be able to listen to the disturbance by way of that wind blow. So they are absolutely in the hills. This is a place in Maharashtra where you get the bloom of a valley of flowers known as the Khas Valley. So she is there, and she has sent this brief recording from that place. Thank you, Meeta. Now, the next one is from Srimati Sailaja Sunku. I'll have to read this. Hari Om Guruji, pranams. I am so blessed to be a part of this spiritual path under your dedicated guidance. I have noticed a lot of change when I think whatever comes in life, whether good or bad, treat that as prasad from Almighty according to my karma. Used to feel peaceful, and I am able to concentrate on my japa, and whatever I do, all these happened because of your talks and guidance. Thank you so much for everything. And doing Mahamrityunjaya mantra for a long time has also helped me to be peaceful and improve my concentration. Thank you, Srimati Sailaja. Now we have last 2 more. So the penultimate one is from Srimati Nikki Jindal. A recording.
With my family, and I remember Hari Om Vasisa. Congratulations on finishing 300 classes. Today, I am so grateful to have you in my life. You have asked me to share my experience. So, my experience is so wonderful with you. The kind of a knowledge and learning happened in my life after I met you. It's amazing. I am always so grateful that I met you in this life. And here is a small incident. I was really upset, had a very bad fight with my family, and I remember I called you in the morning, and I was really upset. And I was like, please talk to me and tell me what should I do. And you said, Nikki, don't think about this. Like एक मिनट पहले नहीं सोचना, एक मिनट बाद में नहीं सोचना. Just be in the single minute now. Like not in your past and not in your future. Don't think about what happened just half an hour back or maybe 5 hours back. Or don't think about what will happen after 1 hour. Just be in your now. So whenever you're in your now, you'll feel that you're better off. So after when you said that, that has registered so nicely in my head that I started practicing. So what I realize is that whenever we go back to our past, there is a lot of pain, resentment, guilt, a lot of things. And whenever we think about the future, there is a fear, there's unknown fear which we only created. So it's so beautiful when I started practicing how to be in your now. And I've learned many things, but this was the best thing which you said it, and it registered so well in my mind because it was morning when I called you. So thank you so much for all the experiences and many more to come. I'm looking forward for more learnings, and let's see how this journey goes. Thank you so much. So grateful to have you. Thank you.
Now see here, this is from Mrs. Nikki, one live example she has given. And I think this is one of the methods. This is again another version of Sakshi Bhava, or being the Drashta. So when you are watching the present moment, that minute, see what happens, be in the present has become a cliche again. We have heard this so many times, it really doesn't register in our mind. Talk about that minute. I am going to be in this minute. And just focus on that minute. Not a minute before, nor a minute later. And while you are doing that, also keep focusing, shifting to your breath, and then again this awareness within you as to you are being in the present. And you will see that you calm down so much so that if the amount of anger was say 100 units, it will come below 10 immediately. See what happens, problems, they become more when you react to it, because it is between one and more, it is not within yourself all the time. You have somebody else and with them you are interacting, and something goes wrong, and if you give back, the other person gives back, and then you give harder and the other person gives harder, and it takes to such an extent that each one of us says so many things which we can never forget in our lives. So there, if you calm down and if you are in the present moment, so you are not going to say anything. The other person has said, let him say. When you don't say, he may say again, just listen to it, you are in the present. So this actually avoids lot of troubles which can come in life, apart from you being peaceful. So this is a very good learning we have. Now let's listen to Mrs. Manisha Chopra ma'am. So this is the last one. Here we go.
Respected Vasuguruji, I have no words to express my deep gratitude for you, who's been a friend, philosopher, and guide. As we reach this landmark talk, I'd like to share some experiences. Your talks on Gita were of tremendous help when Ajit left me to continue his journey. Every day we would attend the talks to calm my agitated mind and give peace to the soul. Now, 2 years down the line, changes have taken place within me. For example, when I'm agitated and disturbed, I tell myself, Naham Karta, Hari Karta. Further, I tell myself what I've learnt, the soul is immortal, part of the Lord. So He is there somewhere. Again, when anger and enemy tends to predominate, the message comes loud and clear. The Lord is in the person right in front of me, and the anger subsides. Further, sitting in Delhi waiting for the work to finish and wind up certain issues, agitation takes a back seat. Things will happen when Krishna wills it. The talks have helped me to be at peace and have an attitude of gratitude for what the Lord has bestowed upon me. You have simplified the Gita through the various examples painstakingly searched and given by you, and the cross-references to the Upanishads have awakened a desire to learn more about them, but I realize small steps have to be taken towards a bigger goal. Revision and re-revision of the Gita is my deep desire. I realize the message of Gita has to be internalized, and I have a deep desire to do so. Thank you, Guruji, for guiding us through this process, and pray you continue with your guidance. Finally, I'd like to mention the Vishnu Sahasranama which you introduced to me has become a lifeline. It gives me tremendous peace. I must chant it every day, and this has been happening over the years. The explanation of the names has given deeper significance to the chanting. Thank you once again, Vasuguruji, for guiding us through this process, and we pray you continue with this spiritual enlightenment. God bless you. Hari Om.
Hari Om ma'am, thank you. I have known Srimati Manisha ma'am for the last now almost 30 years. Ever since, not 30, sorry, 22 years. I've come to stay in this Hiranandani complex in Mumbai in early 2000. So since then we have been friends together. One thing I must tell about her is when she lost her spouse, her better half, it was the cremation day, and of course we had our classes going on. I could see her attending the Gita class. This really shook me. I was wondering how somebody can be so dedicated. On the day of cremation, you are attending the class. Then tell me why God will shirk back from blessing such a soul. So, what God looks at is the dedication and the inclination and what we can offer. It's all His. But what we do is, whatever He has given us, we use it for our personal benefit, for our sense gratification. But when we understand and we say, there is nothing greater than knowing you, there is nothing greater than remembering you, there is nothing greater than thinking about you, that is true unification of the Jiva and the Paramatma. Thank you, ma'am. You have said it well. The Prasada Buddhi and the Arpana Buddhi. Again, I am so glad that everybody has taken the right inputs. That is what is required. See, we don't have any formal examinations or um, evaluation methods here. I only go by when people talk about the improvement in their life in terms of how they were earlier and how they are now. That shows how we are progressing on the spiritual path, and in direct terms when you talk about what you are doing. Okay. Now with this we have heard from everybody, but nevertheless if anybody has missed, we would still like to hear. What I would request is, at any point of time, need not be on such important occasions or landmark situations, if anybody has got something to say, they can always send a recording. See, here it is like we all are teachers, we all are students. So we are learning from each other's experience. So let it be a two-way mode. And anytime you have something as a reckoning which comes to you, as an insight which comes to you, please immediately share. It would be great. Now, I'll share one of my insights which was about 10 days back. I had got up in the early morning. It was about 3:30 a.m. and when I was doing my meditation, a thought came to my mind. Now listen to this carefully. Imagine a situation where a person is dead. Now, he is a person who is loved by many. So what happens? Let's say the richest man on this earth, he comes and he says, I am going to put in all my wealth to bring this back. Now what is the difference between the person who is dead and you and me? Why do we call a person is dead and whom do we call a person is alive? The difference is there is life in us. There is awareness in us. That's the only difference between us and the dead, isn't it? So this rich man, he comes and he says, I am ready to put in all that billions and billions of dollars what I have. No, nothing worked. Let's say along with him all the billionaires, they come and they are ready to put in their money. Nothing happened. They are not able to get back the life. The entire wealth of the world is, they are ready to spend on this person, but nothing worked. Now the next level, after wealth comes the power. Let's say the US president and the presidents of all the countries, they come together. So which means you have the entire power of the world which has come together to bring back life into that person. Nothing worked. Next, all the famous, fame what we call, money, power and fame, these are three things which drive us in our lives, isn't it? Now when that the most famous person on this planet, he comes and he uses all his fame to get back the money, to get back life into this person, nothing worked. Not only he, followed by him, everybody else who was famous on this planet, they all come together and they try to get back life, nothing worked. Now after they did their experience, they are experiment one after the other, now all the three come together, that is all the money, all the power and all the fame, they come together to bring back life into that person, they could not. So what do we understand by this? That life which is in you right now, that awareness which is in you and me right now, Can you value that after this exercise? This should give you goosebumps. Think about it. What are we crying for? Paltry things. Kick that off. You are not this identity which you have created for yourself. You are that life which is much beyond all the money on this earth, much beyond all the power on this earth, much beyond all the fame of this earth. As far as you restrict yourself to being this jiva, this limited body, this limited mind, this limited entity, you will be suffering. But when you start getting associated with that divine life which is within you, now you just now understood the value of that life that is there within you and for which the entire world tried to retrieve and they could not get. So focus on that awareness, focus on that life and make the best use of this life. Think about it. Okay. Now we have a little time. Let's see whatever we can do. We'll try to finish this in this class, and probably in the next class we'll continue whatever I had to sum up for you all. So now I'll just take you through the stages of Chidabhasa. What is this Chidabhasa? This jiva, what we have created as our understanding. Now what is the difference between the jiva and the Paramatma? That consciousness which is in the entire universe, when reflected on a mind, it becomes reflected consciousness. So that reflected consciousness is what is the Chetana Shakti in us. The consciousness is known as Chaitanya Shakti, and when reflected in us, it is the Chetana Shakti. Now this Chetana Shakti has got about 7 stages, which we call as Chidabhasa. Now what is the promise of Adhyatma, Adhyayana or study of spirituality is Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti Paramananda Prapti. Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti means it should destroy your sorrows, whatever be the sorrow, at whatever degree it is, it has to be in a position to destroy them. Not only destroying your sorrows, it should be able to give you that Paramananda Prapti. You should be thinking, why am I feeling happy? I didn't eat an ice cream, nor I got any good news, nor I experienced something pleasant. But why am I feeling happy? That is that Paramananda Prapti which erupts from inside. You should start feeling that. So that is when you can slowly, it will start coming slowly, your sorrows will start reducing. Now I have seen that everybody is experiencing this first part, which is reduction of our sorrows, our miseries, our anxieties, our fears, our resentments, our worries. Now along with this you will start seeing that as you were fearful, as you were dreadful, as you were resentful, you will start experiencing that calmness, that bliss, that joy within. So this is what the Adhyayana it calls for. Now there is one very beautiful shloka in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and it is also in the Panchadasi. Atmanam chet vijaniyat ahamasmiti irpurushaha kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusvancharet. It says so much with exclamation that when you have realized that you are not this body, this mind and this senses conglomerate, you are not that, but you are that Chetana Shakti, reflection, and your original form is that Chaitanya Shakti, that which is reflected. When you understand that, then you get a feeling that why am I worried about so many things in life? For whom should I do? For whom should I worry? For whom should I suffer? You get that kind of feeling. This is not me. I am that ahamasmi iti purushaha. So this great saying, it gives us, once you have crossed this barrier of coming out of the clutches of this body mind concept. See, even as a jiva, let's say you are not getting the knowledge of the Paramatma or the Tattva. Even as a jiva, if you look at, if things have gone wrong, okay, this is not the end of my journey. This is just a page in one of the books where there are, if let's say if a book is of 1000 pages, you have got thousands and thousands and thousands of these kind of 1000-page books. This is just one page, this life. Forget it. Leave it the way it is. And one day it will go away and then you get another life. So if you start focusing on, at the Jiva Bhava only I am talking. Let's not talk at a higher level. At the Jiva Bhava, when you focus thinking that many wrong things have happened in this life, what is the use? I have messed up with my life. Don't bother. You have got so many lives to come ahead. There are so many pages in your book yet. So then Purushartha, use that weapon of Purushartha. You have the power to do what you want to do. Destiny gives you what it has to give you, that is Prarabdha. And what you do with that destiny which has given you is your Purushartha. Now there cannot be a greater example with what we all have achieved in this COVID times. COVID gave Purushartha to the entire planet. Sorry, the Prarabdha. It was the Prarabdha of each and every person on this planet to experience this COVID and to experience this lockdown, all this. But what was the Purushartha? What we used that time for? Our self-evolvement. That was the Purushartha. And that came how? That came with the Viveka Shakti. We could have nicely sat back and seen several Netflix or various other web series. We could have chatted, we could have done so many other things, but we chose with our Purushartha to stick with the divine. With that divine knowledge beyond which there is nothing more supreme. So in this way, when a person has understood clearly that I am not this body mind, then he has got nothing to worry about. This is what we have to learn over here. So now we all say I, isn't it? Now I am coming to the core aspect. When we use the word I, the I has got meanings, three meanings in different contexts. Now what is this? Broadly, if you see, there is a Jnani and there is an Ajnani, the wise and the ignorant. Okay, so when the person who is ignorant, he talks about I, what does he relate himself to? He relates himself to that entity, that is that body in which there is a mind, in which there are senses, which are again senses of action and sense perceptions. So with these Jnanendriya and Karmendriya, he is completely associated with his body mind complex. So whenever he says I, primarily he means this. Okay, now this is the first variety. Now there is a second variety where a person, he uses I in two contexts. Now why I am telling you this is, we were all in the first category earlier. Now observe yourself in the second category, what you should be doing. You should slowly, whenever you are negotiating, discussing, participating in this world. Whenever you say I, you have to say in two contexts. Meaning, as a reflected consciousness, meaning there is that divine light, that supreme consciousness which is reflecting in me, my mind, which is giving that awareness, and I am alive. And in this state, what you say? To the world, you say that I am this reflected consciousness operating in this world. Grasp this carefully. This is an exercise which we all need to do now. So when we have this kind of a attitude that I am not doing, the Chaitanya Shakti consciousness reflecting in my mind and flowing around as Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness. This reflected consciousness is temporary, anitya. It can anytime die off. So just have a clear understanding. So when you say I, you say I am going or I am coming. You're telling somebody. So know that I am talking through this Chidabhasa Jiva, and at the same time know that you are not this Chidabhasa Jiva, you are that Kutastha. Kutastha means that supreme Chaitanya Shakti which is being reflected here. If you recollect the bucket, which is the body, the mind, which is the water, the reflection of the sun falling on the water and giving that light and brightness in that bucket of water is that Chetana Shakti. Remember that you are not the image which has fallen on the water, but you are that which is being reflected in this water. Once you get this understanding, simple things, every time you say, for the world I am this Chidabhasa, which means this Jiva which is in action, but in my true sense I am that Chaitanya Shakti. Okay, so you have these two things. Now the third stage comes where Ajnani, see, first one is Ajnani, second one is now the transformation is happening. He knows that while negotiating, interacting in the world, I am in the form of a Chidabhasa, that is the reflected consciousness, but my true self is that which is being reflected in this reflected consciousness. Now slowly the transformation happens and the third stage becomes the stage of Jnani, where he has completely understood. And at every point of time, like as you ask an Ajnani, who are you, and that person gives his ID card and he talks of his name, his family, his father, mother and his wife, children, possessions, his education, his job, profession, he comes out with this. In the same way, this Jnani who has transformed, even though he is blabbering for the world, but his mind is stable, as the Kutastha means, I am that Asanga, Nirmala, Nirakara, Nirvikalpa, all the qualities of that divine, he has that feeling in his mind. Once a person is established in that, wherever he is, being alone, well, it is very easy to understand because you are in meditation and you have shifted yourself from this Chidabhasa to the Chaitanya Shakti, which is the Kutastha. But even you being in a crowd, if you are able to keep getting this feeling in a crowd, in a group where everybody is talking, but you are connected to the Kutastha, which is the sun which is being reflected. Now a very good example is about the moon. On a moonlight day, what do we say? Oh, it is the reflection, the moonlight is what we are experiencing on this earth. But actually, if you see, although it is the moonlight, it is because of the sun, the moon is reflecting the light of the sun, and we call that as the moonlight. So here exactly what is moon? The moon is the Jiva and the mind in the Jiva. So the reflection of the consciousness, which is the sun, on this mind which is the moon, and the moonlight, which is the awareness within your body. This entire stretch you have to understand. And although you know that you are in moonlight, know that it is because of the sun this moonlight is there. This is all you can have for your understanding. This moonlight is only because of the sunlight. Don't just end yourself with that moon. So the second stage is you are ending with the moon. But in the third stage, while you are experiencing moonlight, know that it is the sun which is the cause for the moonlight, and you have won yourself. So in this way, we will understand the stages. There are 7 stages of this Chidabhasa, which is the reflected consciousness, to reach that third stage out of these 3. So this is Ajnana, Avarana, then you have Vikshepa, Paroksha Jnana, Aparoksha Jnana, and Shoka Nivrutti, and then Trupti. Trupti is that Paramananda Prapti. So these 7 stages will, maybe in the next class we'll take up this, and whatever I wanted to tell during this class, I will explain all that in the next class, because this summarizes. Now and then we need to go to the basics and see where we are, place ourselves in the right position, and brave up, beef up, and push ourselves upward to get what we want to receive on this spiritual path. After this, what we'll do is we'll now take up the Vishnu Sahasranama, 2 divine names, and then we'll chant the Dhanvantri mantra, and maybe for a few minutes, a couple of minutes, we'll just meditate on the divine conscious light. Okay? Before that, I would like to thank several people who have made this happen. I am just one person whom you all can see on the forefront, but actually there are many people who are behind my presence over here. First and foremost is my elder sister, who very casually mentioned during the COVID times that why don't you start teaching to the youngsters at home, where I was reluctant, and Kannada is not my forte. I only know informal Kannada but not the formal Kannada. But she says, no, never mind, it is about our children at home, so don't worry, just start. So she has been the primary seed for this yajna, and then thereafter all the youngsters in the family, they bought all technology together, and they set up this whole platform to operate. So my sister Kavita Mohan, whose maiden name was Sita Lakshmi, and thereafter Bhavana, Prerana, Rakshit, then we have Siddharth, all of them helped us up in this platform, technical platform. Then I have my brother Bhavani Prasad, who helps me in my research and my studies, who has always been trying to send me various notes to understand and study this concept much deeper. And my brother Badri Narayan, who has been helpful in the admin part, the coordination part. And my better half Padmaja, who has been a strong pillar behind me. Anything I want to do, she has been saying, yes, I am there with you, and that's how that support has been there. See, many a time she wants to, she has something on her list, she has to go out, she has to do this, but I tell her, no, I have to study, I am not completely convinced with the class next, I need to gain much more knowledge on this. So it was a sacrifice. So, and that happens only if she is at peace, I am at peace. If I am at peace, she is also at peace, of course. So this is my sincere thanks to her as well. And I must mention Srimati Gyani Pandey. She has been writing all the notes so lucidly and so eloquently, amazing and mind-boggling. So you have the entire lecture in a word format in form of notes. Anytime you want, you can go back and you can refer to them. So if you want to listen to a lecture, it takes say 1 hour lecture, you can read in 10 minutes. anything you want to underline, you want to mark, all that is possible on the notes. I hope most of you make use of that. So I thank her, and I thank Shamala. She many a time she discusses several things what she has been learning here and there. Shamala Vishak. So she also has been a support to me. And more importantly is all the seekers who have given their dedicated time, energy, and that attention, that focus, that is something which amazes me. So all this put together, we have really been doing something marvelous, and I am sure as we see this grace of God which is showering on us, it's only and only the hard work which we have been pursuing. Now, I would like to mention to you all, we are going to take a sankalp today. The Mahamrityunjaya mantra is, now by the English group we have done so far 2 crore 17 lakh mantras all put together, and in the Kannada group we have done 4 crores 26 lakhs. So which means we have totally done 6.43, which is about 6.5 crores. Many people don't send on every day, some send on a week or some on a month. So we have almost touched 6.5 crores. Now on the 300th episode in the Kannada pravachan, what we took a oath was that now that we are not going to stop at 300, let this continue, because the satsang is very important for us to be on this path. It will not take time for you to get back to your original form which was 3 years ago. It will not take time. As far as you are in this satsang, it is like your immunity is intact and you will not get infected. So we are going to continue on these classes. Only my humble submission here would be, I may not be able to take exactly on that Tuesday what we are designated for. If I am traveling or if I have some work on Ekadashi, things like that, so I may take another day, but I will ensure that every week we will have one class. Even if I missed upon, then I will make up in the following week. That is all. So let us see how it continues. We will very leisurely go through each and every nitty-gritty nuances of the Bhagavad Gita, and then if at all we are encouraged for some other text in between, we will take that as well, and we will see what is in store for us after the Gita. Okay. Now, so I would request all of you to take a Drida Sankalpa in your mind that we are going to achieve 11 crores of Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Just make that vow. I am going to keep chanting what I have been chanting, and I will improve upon my chanting. Number 1. Number 2, this is purely on Loka Kalyana, not for your personal gain. That I want an increase in my salary, I want a promotion, I want good health, or I want more possessions, or I want daughters or sons to get married. No, not this. These are all our own personal things. Whatever chanting you do it on a selfless mode for Loka Kalyana, for the love of God. Dedicate as a karma towards God, and whatever it has to do, it will do. If a person who is cleaning the car, there are car washers who clean the car. Now you should see their feet and hand, they are so clean because it's always soaked in water and soap. So in that way, even if you do for Loka Kalyana, your mind, Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata is going to be a byproduct, don't worry. So with this dedication, we continue our chanting and we improve upon it. And I would also request, please involve your family members. Even for 1 week, if they are able to do one mala also, that is good enough, but make them a part of your exercise towards reaching the Lord. Because without them, your life is also not going to be that great. Slowly ask them to do 10 mantras a day, that's all. That will take hardly a minute. Start from there and slowly improve upon it, especially children. If they get this clarity, cleanliness, attention, focus, concentration, it's going to do a good lot. Okay, so let's aim at that. And I am sure that you all are there on this Sankalpa. Please send me a message either on the group or on the chat over here that you are with me on this. Okay, and it based on the current scenario of the speed what we are doing, it may take about 2.5 years max to reach that 11 crore mark, which is not too far, not like 10 years or some 15 years, just 2.5 years. If we spike up, we may be less than 2 years also. So this huge, humongous volume of grace is always there with us, what we are doing. Okay, yeah. Now let's listen to two divine names. Let's not end before that. We may not be able to do the meditation part. Yeah, come. So the shloka 29, Shri Vishnu Sahasranama. सुभुजो दुर्धरो वाग्मी महेन्द्रो वसुदो वसुः नैकरूपो बृहद्रूपः क्षिपविष्टप्रकाशनः. In this we have 271 Naikarupaha, one who is of infinite forms in his manifestations. The single waker's mind becomes itself variated to serve as the endless items of the dream world. The one supreme cause of the whole universe is Vishnu, and all effects are but different expressions of their cause. In the very familiar chant traditionally repeated by all devotees, this idea has been brought out beautifully. Jalam Vishnuhu, Phalam Vishnuhu, Vishnurakash Muchyate, Tavaram Jangamam Vishnuhu, Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat. Looking at him through our distorting instruments of body, mind, intellect, we see the plurality, and on transcending this equipment can we experience the oneness of absolute reality. 272 Brihadrupaha, vast, one who has that infinite dimensions, one who is pervading all, one whose very form means the Rupa. He is the totality of the universe and therefore as vast as the universe. In the description of the Supreme Person in the Rig Veda, Purusha Sukta, we read the rishis declaring that Vishnu is not only of the total size and dimension of the universe, but he stands beyond it by all 10 digits. Atyatishat Dashangulam. In this way, he is that Brihadrupaha. He is like that ocean. We are the forms who are like the waves, who are temporary. We immediately merge back into the water. So to such a Lord who is Naikarupaha and Brihadrupaha, we offer our humble salutation, and we again and again pray for his divine grace, mercy, blessings on us. Let's read the Dhanvantari mantra. Health is the most important thing. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraya Amrudagalashastaya Sarva Bhaya Vinashaya Sarva Roga Nivaranaya Trailokya Pataye Trailokya Nidhaye श्री महाविष्णु स्वरूप श्री धन्वंतरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषध चक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। ओम नमो भगवते महासुदर्शनाय वासुदेवाय धन्वंतरये अमृतकलशास्ताय सर्वभय विनाशाय सर्वरोग निवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्री महाविष्णु स्वरूप श्री धन्वंतरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषध चक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। ओम नमो भगवते महासुदर्शनाय वासुदेवाय धन्वंतरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वभयविनाशाय सर्वरोगनिवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्री महाविष्णुस्वरूप श्री धन्वंतरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषधचक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। Just half a minute of silence, feeling the divine light, that supreme light which is pervading the entire universe, falling on you and you experiencing it as the awareness, the life and the life enabling factor in you. Keep experiencing this light and the awareness. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Together we offer our humble salutations and this Gita Jnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord, the Almighty. We seek His grace, mercy and blessings again and again. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Om